Cake it up my butt. Stick it up my ass. Alright, man, I told you. It's not Pokemon, it's Pokemon. Are we live? What's up, guys? My name's Zane and welcome to the channel. Baltimore Regionals is right around the corner and you already know that I'm going to be there. I've been preparing pretty much since Reg Age was announced. So in this video, I'll be talking to you guys about the things that I've been doing to get ready for the event. Of course, this video is part of a larger series on my channel where I'm competing in various VGC events and trying to qualify for the Pokemon World Championships this year. So if this is your first time on my channel, make sure to check out some of my other videos so that you're caught up with my journey so far. As I said before, Baltimore is going to be held in the new regulation, Reg H, and this is going to be the first major tournament held in the new regulation. That means that there's going to be a ton of potential for the various strategies and Pokemon that we're going to be seeing in Baltimore. Everybody's going in with no real precedent on what's good and what's not. So we have to go through the difficult challenge of figuring out the meta through various means of testing online. But before I even started testing, there was already a big hurdle to overcome: signing up for the event. So I was talking to some of my friends, and apparently with the first regional of every year, they usually fill up the spots pretty quick. And once they're out of spots, you're out of luck. So me and my friends had to hop onto a call and wait for the exact moment for signups to go live just to make sure that we got a spot. And needless to say, I was stressing.
5 minutes left, I gotta take a poop.
Luckily, we got into the tournament, so with that out of the way, it was time to start testing. Rain, Sun, Trick Room, Mouse Ape, Dozogiri, 6 random mons picked by spinner. If you thought about it, I tested it. Luckily, in the end, it started to become obvious which teams were good and which ones weren't. The first team that I ended up really liking was this hard Trick Room team that ran Torkoal and Ursaluna Blood Moon to sweep. And I was getting pretty good with it, but of course, it wasn't perfect. I was making some absolutely amazing plays.
I think I'm actually clicking U-turn in Chirilla, so that way I can bring in, what's it called? Because I feel like he's gonna Grassy Glide my Annihilate to make sure I don't kill anything. But if I U-turn into the Sun, I block the Aurora Veil, and then I can just hit Trick Room. I have to tear out a cover in case he does something else. I'm actually the best fucking player in Pokemon I've ever seen. I'm actually the greatest Pokemon player on the fucking planet, bro. I'm actually the best fucking player I've ever seen.
Yo, that was cooking.
And some not so great plays.
Yo, what is this?
It's a throw, bro.
We're prepping for Baltimore. Us
Bro,
bros.
why are you running Trick Room, bro?
He prepped me to lose, bro. I had a winning play and he made me lose.
After testing out the team a ton on Pokemon Showdown, I decided to make the team in-game so that I could test it in a real tournament setting. I joined a couple of tournaments on limitlesstcg.com to get some higher quality practice, and I even got second place in a Tommy Tuesday, which apparently is a very popular weekly tournament. Needless to say, the team was doing pretty well. Of course, with all the testing, we did need to take some breaks. Like at one point, my friends were at the World's Pokemon Center and they just started walking around streaming on Discord, and that was pretty cool.
Let me see the back.
Snorlax.
Aren't like the world tour.
Can you buy a Snorlax? Get the hell out of here.
We also had to take some time to figure out where we were going to actually stay when we were in Baltimore, since of course, you know, my car is not exactly the most comfortable to sleep in. So we ended up deciding on an Airbnb that looked pretty nice that we're going to split like 10 ways. As I'm recording this, there's actually still about a week or so until Baltimore, so there's still some time to get some more prep in. And this weekend, there's going to be a League Cup on the 7th, which is also going to be played in Reg H. And of course, we're going to be competing. Not only is this going to be great practice, but it's also going to be another opportunity to earn some CP before the regionals. So I'm going to head out and I'll see you guys when I get back from the Cup. No. You guys really thought we were doing another montage? Nah, we keep it original on this channel. You ain't catching me lacking. I just got back from the League Cup and we got second place, boys. That means that we get plus 40 CP, giving us a total of 50 going into Baltimore. I'll say the team performed pretty well, but there are a few small changes that I want to make after playing this weekend. I found a couple of small holes with the team, but luckily didn't affect our performance too much, and now we can be even more ready for the regional. Now, before I end this video, I want to go through some of the best resources that I was using, as well as some of the things that I did that I felt like were the most valuable in terms of time spent in my preparation. For me, one of the biggest things I did was just getting as many games in as possible, especially this early into the format, just because there's a bunch of new Pokemon that are viable and it's good to have practice into the most popular Pokemon of the format. I literally jammed hundreds of games over multiple counts this last month, and I think all of that time was well spent. Another big thing I did was running lines into specific matchups. I spent a ton of time just having a friend play a specific lead or a specific team and just trying out all the different combinations of moves I can click and leads that I could send out. I took all this information, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then just studied it to make sure that I was really ready and knew what I wanted to do into every single type of matchup, what moves I wanted to click, what Pokemon I wanted to bring, etc. This was so important because it gave me a ton of confidence playing into a ton of different matchups, since I now had a really good game plan going into the matchup before I even started playing. This meant that I was no longer scrambling every time I saw a team. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I was just ready to play some Pokemon. The other big thing I did was just try out a bunch of teams. Like I said before, I basically tested every single team that I could think of, and anytime a creator posted a video about a specific team, I would queue it up and try it for myself. This allowed me to really understand which Pokemon felt strong in the format and which ones didn't. And that meant that I wasn't really relying on other people's tier lists or format discussions because I could now develop my own opinions on the format. Which leads me to one of the most important resources that I was able to take advantage of, and that's Pokemon Showdown. There just isn't another tool out there that lets you just try out so many teams and just jam in so many games. This made testing so much easier, and I'm so happy it exists. Aside from Showdown, the limitless tournaments were also a huge help. Those tournaments are probably the best way to gauge your current skill level, since a lot of the people in those tournaments are taking the game pretty seriously. At least more seriously than a random game on Showdown. Another super important resource that I used was Passers 5.0, which is a Google Sheet created by someone that allows you to add all of your replays and then get stats about your win rates, how often you tear your Pokemon, and so much more. It gives you a really nice view of how well your team performs and even lets you leave notes for yourself so that you don't forget key details in the future. I'll leave a link to it in the description below so that you can check it out for yourself. Lastly, I already mentioned this, but I also documented a lot of what I practiced in my own Excel sheet. I tracked things like what leads I like to bring versus which matchup, what my specific EV spreads were for, and just other important things I didn't want to forget. The biggest thing I learned in my prep is that it's not enough to just practice. You need to practice intentionally if you want to improve. But we won't know if all that practice pays off until this weekend, so I guess you just have to tune in next time to see what happens.